I just got finished coaching some Little League flag football. Go Bills. Now it's time to do some much needed yard work. Who am I kidding? I've got a robot lawnmower, but it does give me a chance to sit out here and enjoy the sun and test out another as seen on TV product. This is the Arctic Air Cool Touch. Welcome back to another Jav Reviews for you. And as you can see, we are taking a look at this personal handheld cooling device that's supposed to keep you extra cool. You know what though? Enough talk. Let's get right into this review. I thought it would be fun to get right to testing out the Arctic Air Cool Touch. And if you want to see the unboxing and specs, that'll be later on in the video. Since I'm outside, I want to get the maximum cooling and the maximum wind. So let's turn it on, light this thing up. I don't think that's as high as the wind blows. Let's try that again. Oh yeah, that's much faster. All right, now let's see how this does. You couldn't really tell outside, so I wanted to show you real fast the different settings. There's actually 4 different settings. So you push the button, and that's 1. Then you hit it again, 2, 3, 4, and then of course the next one will shut it off. Did you notice when I pushed the button that the bottom area was also blue? That tells me that the cooling pad is on as well. That only has 2 settings, on and off. Right now it's on, but if I wanted to turn it off, I just push it. And you see how that light disappeared? If I go through the settings again and then I turn the fan off, when I turn it back on, it's gonna default to its original setting. It'll turn the fan on and that cooling plate. You already know that we have this on the maximum fan setting. I have this right around 1 foot away from me and I can definitely feel a cool breeze coming at me. So, well, I'm pretty impressed with that. Woo, look at that. It actually blew the bugs away that were flying around my head. Now that's an extra plus I did not expect. As I'm using this, I do notice that thing is loud. Can you hear that? Wow, that is actually a pretty loud fan. I did not expect it to be so loud, especially when I'm holding it in my hand. I'm looking at the trees and I don't think I see a whole lot of wind blowing, but I just all of a sudden felt like the fan wasn't blowing at me anymore. So maybe outside, this is not what it's intended for because, well, I guess those trees are moving. And so that limits the amount of the fan speed that actually gets you just any external wind. Let's chat a little bit about this cooling plate, okay? And I'm really impressed that it has that because a lot of these fans do not. I was disappointed that you have to have the fan on in order for the cooling plate to work. It just does not have its own cooling plate function. But check this out, put this right to your forehead. Wow, that is extra cold. I look forward to checking the temperature later on in the video, but that is a neat feature. Whew, put it down my neck. Yeah, that is really cool. No pun intended. So, tell me, what are your thoughts of the Arctic Air Cool Touch? Something you're looking into? Is there something else you'd recommend? Let me know down in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Whew, that is cool. Now I know you wanted a close-up of my mower in action. I will say the grass that it's mowing is way too long for what it's supposed to do, but it just mows right through. It's a pretty impressive little beast. I wanted to show you this cooling plate. That is condensation actually building up. That's how cold it's actually getting. Oh no, is that starting to rain? But anyway, that's pretty cool. Check that condensation out. Well, there it is. I've been out here 40 minutes. This thing has been on high and it died. The battery died out. So you get about 40 minutes, high fan, high cooling, and I'm really glad it died out now because it's starting to rain. Let's go inside. We're gonna plug this in and charge it up and see how long that takes, but I did wanna test something out. Sometimes you'll get something called pass-through charging, and that means it's charging the battery, but it'll also work the fan. So we were completely dead. Let's see what's happening. All right, so that fan is on. So I'm gonna let it sit here for just a little bit of time to see if it stays on, because that would be a game changer for me. About 10 seconds after we were charging, it shut off. So no, this does not appear to have pass-through charging, so that's kind of frustrating. So we're gonna now just let this charge all the way up to full, and then we'll continue on with our test. Just around 3 hours, our red light turned off. So that means I guess we are fully charged up. What I wanna do now is test the wind speed, and also let's get a really good test of how cold this ice touch plate gets. Let's turn our anemometer on, and this is on low. It gets a little faster wind than you would expect. Right there, we're at about 5.6 miles per hour. That's pretty impressive. Let's bump that speed up. Wow, we've reached over 9 miles per hour. You can see that wind speed. Now let's go it up again. Well, that's pretty cool. We're about 11.5, 11.3, so that's good. Let's see if we can go up another level. This is the highest setting we have. We're just about 14.6 miles per hour. You can definitely tell this has some pretty good wind speed. We've had that touch plate rolling for a little while, and I want to see how cold it actually gets. So we're going to get a quick temperature of the housing. You can see it's relatively warm. It's 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's go over to that touch plate down to 61. This is a pretty impressive little handheld cooler. I like it. I've been letting this run now for an additional 20 minutes just to see what it would feel like right here on my desk, and it is very refreshing. I should say the air conditioning in this room is turned off. It's right now at 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and that cool air coming at me is, wow, I am impressed. Albeit, it is very loud. I don't think I'd like to listen to this for a long period of time, but that wind is refreshing. In case you were wondering what makes this a little more special than a typical handheld fan, if you're running this with the cooling plate on, that wind blowing through actually passes over and blows a little cooler air at you because of that cooling plate. If I turn that cooling plate off, however, it's just blowing the regular air at you. Just for fun, we charged it all the way back up again and we ran it on low, and it did last over 12 hours. I actually turned it off at the 12-hour mark because it was still running. So for me, that actually did meet the claim that it says can run up to 12 hours, but it was on the lowest setting and there was no cooling plate action, just a small little fan. Before we get into the unboxing and specs, I wanted to show you one more thing about the Arctic Air Cool Touch, and that's that this head can actually pivot up and down. And I thought that was cool, but until I started using it. Because why does it stop? Why can't you flex this even more so you get a better angle, but you only get a very limited flex up and down? Now that we showed you how to use it, let's talk more specifics about the Arctic Air Cool Touch. First and foremost, it retails for right around $30, and I did purchase this at my local As Seen on TV retailer. Let's open this up to see what you get right from the store. Unboxed, you see that we have a lanyard, a USB-C charging cable, our user manual, and of course the Cool Touch itself. I did try to turn this on and it turned off almost immediately, meaning there's probably no charge from the factory. Let's go over what we actually have here with the Cool Touch. First and foremost, let's look at the operations. The top button turns it on and off. The bottom button activates that cooling plate. This does have an internal 2000 milliamp battery. It takes right around 3 hours to charge, and they tell you you get up to 12 hours of runtime, and that's only if you're using the fan function. If you're using that cooling plate, it's going to drastically reduce the amount of time because that takes a lot of power. If we take a closer look, here is our cooling plate and then our fan is inside, and I do appreciate that this is compact and lightweight. And speaking of weight, let's actually see how much this item weighs. Let's throw it right here on our scale, and you can see that we're right around 6.9 ounces, which is pretty lightweight. Since we gave you a weight, we can also do a quick measurement, and from the bottom all the way up to the top is right around 7¼ inches. If we look at the actual fan, it's just under 2½ inches across. One thing I'm noticing is this is pretty top heavy because it's such a narrow, thin base. It worries me that it's gonna do just what it did and fall over. I do wish this was a little more stable down here at the bottom. Here's our charging port, and this is where we connect our lanyard. I thought this lanyard was really weird because it has 2 connectors on it, and definitely not something I've seen before. So I just disconnected one of the ends, and so what you do is you take that little loop that you made, slide it through, pull the loop down, and now I can put my clasp right there in the middle and then pull it tight. Now, of course, I can plug this right back in, except I have another one to do. So you're going to want to do the exact same thing. There is limited space, but you can make it work. I kind of wish that this was all one piece where I only used one of these little loops, but that's just how they made it. Just to prove it to you, yes, I was able to get the other one in. Actually, it was easier than I thought it was going to be. In this video, we are taking a look at the Arctic Air Cool Touch. It's a portable handheld personal cooling device. So what do we think of it? First things first, it retailed for right around $30. And I think for the price point and what it does, it's actually a pretty good deal. I just wish it would work longer. I also wish, 1, it wasn't so top heavy, and 2, it works while plugged in, because then I could just get endless use out of this, but sadly, it doesn't. It does provide some impressive cooling relief, especially if you're on the inside of a building, because remember that wind on the outside impacts the fan, but it only lasts for like 40 minutes on high, and that to me just wasn't worth it, because then I had to charge it for 3 hours in order to use it again. I guess if you just need short, little periods of time where you got to be cool, well, that's okay. But for me, I would like it to have been cooler longer. Anyway, that was my full review of the Arctic Air Cool Touch. If this is something that interests you, I will have a link down in the description. This is Jeff with Jeff Reviews for You. As always, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a great day.